stain on the grain of the timber, obscuring the trees and the towns. There's a sinister scent on the wind, time's gonna come around. The red sun is going down. There's a devil inside of us all now. There's a giant to bring to the ground. He's taking us out when it falls. Our time's gonna come around. The red sun is going down, and there's a price to pay for all that we have done. Turn my eyes away and watch the setting sun. Ghosts in the smoke of the campfires. They weep and they wail with no sound. They darken the lights and the lamps. Our time's gonna come around. The red sun is going down. There's a sting on the gasp on my breath now. There's a mark on the wrist of a bound. Raw rings in the cycle of death. Our time's gonna come around. The red sun is going down, and there's a price to pay for all that we have done. Turn my eyes away and watch the setting sun. Now loyalty's a pistol, and my heart is full of holes. I'm bleeding out my spirit, breathing out my soul.
Hello there everyone, and welcome to another edition of Bachukolio's painting streams. Today we'll be continuing our work on this Ulf Werner, hopefully trying to get him as done as possible. Struggling to, as usual. Hey there White Wolf, how are you doing? Thanks for joining. Oh, now ogres. Okay. What for? For Sigmar or fantasy? Warhammer fantasy battles? Oh, right. For Sigmar, go. Are they the models that you used for the ogre that you had a human team for? Yeah, so it's that same kit. Oh no, they're different. Okay. Alrighty then. I'll be painting, and you'll be building along. Alright.
Clean cut, mechanical beats. Hot strut, gonna sweep you off your feet, yeah.
Oh, I see, I see.
Mech
But it's like the same type of ogres, or is it a different build and manufacturing? Right, right, right. Oh, okay. Meanwhile, not too many. Yeah. How so? That's an interesting statement. Well, sure, I mean, every competition has some sort of skill involved. Even gambling. Well, no, of course not. That being said, if the skill level is matched, then it comes down to the amount of force you can exert. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's totally possible. Also, in addition, arm wrestling, the kind of strength that you develop, it doesn't necessarily lead into muscle mass and bulkiness. So there are a lot of instructors over, well, the ones I've seen are mostly on YouTube, but there are very particular and very specifically different regimens for training if you're going to if you're improving your athletic skills and if you're going for aesthetics and things like mass or form. And usually the athletics part, so supplementary training for any kind of sport, doesn't exactly lead to muscle mass. But yeah, skill is very important. It requires, specifically for arm wrestling, you need to lock in the shoulder to the back, and essentially you're pushing with your leg as an extension of your entire body. So it's actually a compound push. It's not just the arm. It's not like we used to do it in school, if that's what you mean. It did. That's true. That's true. Although in that case, you needed to arm wrestle someone that is approximately of your height, because otherwise biometrics come into play. So the longer arm will always have leverage over a short arm. So if we wanted to really make it fair back in school, we needed to only pair each other up with people who are approximately the same height. But yeah, the way we used to do it was simply strength. So only using the arm, no incline of the body and all that stuff. Yeah. As a matter of fact, the first time I ever saw professional arm wrestling, I was like, "Come on, they're not doing it like we used to. This is completely wrong, considering everything that we've been trying to do." Yeah, it's mostly a matter of how much force you can generate throughout your entire body. Yeah.
Faith in one and two to come, one for love, our passions succumbs, three to rise, salvation in mind, four to
But yeah, I do remember being just as shocked as you were the first time I saw a professional display of that on the telly.
yeah, there's been some hard times. As we wait, we surely found, pressed our ears to the sound. Now we finally know the truth. It's time to put my time to use. To come home, back home, to find my peace of mind. Another night, the last night.
Yeah, see, that's something I don't understand why is in the rules. Like, the wristbanding really shouldn't be in there, I think. But then again, what do I know? Yeah, I find that doubtful. Oh, no worries. So am I. Oh, so you couldn't recover from that. Hey there, Rimbo. Thanks for joining. How are you? Where you were discussing here with White Wolf the pros and cons of professional. Yeah, he's here. Of professional arm wrestling as opposed to the school rule set that I think everyone generally used to use, mainly revolving around the wrist bending aspect. On a more topical note, arm wrestling in particular. That's that's a hell of a coincidence. Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, well, there's bound to be some, I suppose. I don't know. In cases such as this, for instance, when we go to play pool or billiards, we always set the ground rules before starting to play. Because different players use different sets of rules. So we just take a couple of minutes to... right? Because at the end of the day, right or wrong doesn't matter. It's just a matter of what you agree to. Right. Right. Well then, I don't know, just have a do-over and use that to your advantage, I don't know. Well, yeah, of course it's not. I mean, it's not vodka. Corpiclani stated it loud and clear. It's vodka that makes you feel stronger, not rakia. It's in the lyrics. Either way, man, you shouldn't worry about things like that. As long as you didn't bet your house or anything like that, you shouldn't really care. Did you see the invitation for the Melon Bowl, the second edition? And would you be attending? Because I didn't see you. Oh, you did? Great. Have you decided what team you're gonna play? Hey there, Pig in Space. Thanks for joining, and how are you today? Yeah, woodies would be nice. Woodies would definitely be a nice addition to the roster. Also, we haven't had wood elves in our meta, so introducing them would be fun. It would be a brand new challenge for most of us. Oh, how'd it go? Like spinning in CCL, I suppose? Yeah, that's CCL. Are you playing Brett's there? Yeah, yeah, the usual. Can't actually remember, but I think CCL had a limit on the number of concedes that you can have per game, but I'm not really sure about that. All right. Good, that's good to hear. I should really start training with the Norse myself. But it's just been getting a bit on the crazy side lately. I haven't really had too much time. I'll get there. It'll just take a little while. Yeah. Oh, what was it? And I am completely out of frame, okay. Really? Well, truth of the matter is CCL doesn't exactly follow the usual etiquette. It's more random and more privy to the to most of the multiplayer games where you will get comments such as noob or uninstall or stuff like that. The usual salty shit that we've been sort of. Yeah, yeah, it is bad game. That's what it meant. Who knows what kind of person it was anyway. Yeah, I think 2 is a good number for well, I think for our group in general. First, we're not in the habit of playing too quickly, and secondly, we're still thinking too much. And I am talking as a group, but yeah, I think it would apply if someone doesn't feel that way. Feel free to tell me otherwise, but so over 2 games, A, it becomes too time consuming, and B, it becomes too tiring. So it's a good place to start. Oh yeah, they did shorten the time limit, didn't they? I think for CCL that was a good idea, as there were far too many players, far too many coaches that took advantage of the longer turns and just used them to annoy everyone they played against. And that just led to no one having any fun, really. Oh yeah, that's good. Oh, thank you. Thank you. As I commented previously, it's just... my only concern is that it's very plain as a color scheme. But it's what I decided, and it is what I'm sticking to. It's a modified scheme, I think, because the box art has them in gray, so the armor bits are in gray, and I think that all the metallics are golds, like bright golds. And I just added some variety with the metallics, so I added some silver metallics, and I decided to go for blue. It's a rather common it's a common color scheme, but it fits. Okay. Yeah, I can join you guys for tomorrow. We can have a game or two. Like in Friday, we can have a couple of matches to test out things. Sure, alright. I don't know if I'll be able to log in before 7:30 like today. But in case I don't, please feel free to start without me and I'll just join up. Can also check with no, not really. I'm not in contact with them. But yeah, they are the last ones remaining. I think we already have 2 games played from the second round. The ones that were playable. Oh yeah, Richard is also free, isn't he? As in, on the schedule for the games, now that he is free to play. Why aren't you telling me I'm getting out of frame? Oh, how did it go? Like, was it casualty rich? I haven't looked through the reports. I noticed, so I saw that you won, but I haven't I haven't looked into the report to see at what cost for either of the teams. For anyone who actually isn't from our local gaming group, I'm just gonna take the opportunity to clarify that this is we are commenting on the results and games from our local tabletop league. Which is in its 4th season. Oh wow. Well, that's good for you. Still though, even one gutter runner on the pitch is an annoyance in and of itself. Should be prioritized for on-pitch execution. Yeah, and I don't know, I've seen some, not for not for pro elves, but for wood elves. I've seen quite a few teams essentially having 4 or 5 journeymen per game, and essentially just focusing on their important positionals. I don't know if this is playable in the context of pro elves. Yeah, exactly. You are a bit reduced, a bit limited in terms of actions because of the loner, but aside from that, I think that aside from some crazier dodging, the line elves wouldn't need to do much other than just fill up space and throw tackle zones. Yeah. How many did you say? 2 down. Well, that is actually to your benefit, because they will be beaten into the ground on the line of scrimmage, so it's better that it is that they're players that you don't have any intention of keeping or leveling up or protecting in any way. Yeah, true, and this is why Elven journeymen are really good, even as journeymen. Because it's Agi 4 and Armor 8, I think. So they're pretty okay. It's just that you wouldn't you wouldn't want to do much with them. Oh, the linemen are 7. Alright. Of the 8. My mistake. Oh, okay. So you gave him block. Well, it'll pay off for sure in time. And yeah, it's when you think about it, one game investment isn't worth it, considering that block will be reliable in every game, whereas tackle or an offensive skill would only slow him down. Oh yeah, for the long run, block is undeniably better. So you just need to generate those 3-die blocks to make sure you get a POW, and you should be fine. Or a both down, in this case. Essentially, you still did manage to negate. Yeah, it's actually the same percentage when you think about it, because whether or not a push will be, a stumble will be a push, or a both down will result in only the defender falling down. Still good, even considering that block is better. Oh yeah, good choice. Good. Yes, well. That is actually an idea. Make your own higher agility Ulf and higher armor, well, just a better Ulf in general. Yeah, it doesn't sound bad. Like for the one with block, well, either one of the two with block for now. Because I know that you like your frenzy too. Yeah, still food for thought for future days. I myself am in a bit of a conundrum on what to do with my team. 'Cause it happens that I have enough cash to get a second witch elf. I'm considering that option, but it would mean that I have to keep the garbage, the movement busted runner around to give me. Yeah, it's general. General skill.
Things to never say on a first date. Take note. Oh yeah, I believe in reproductive rights too, especially for guys.
Yeah, I think I'll just get the witch, make it more fun. And
No.
who cares if I bloat my team value? I'm already over the average.
Hey, you want to meet my parents next weekend? You remind me so much
So
of
I'll
my
be
mom.
giving off a ton of inducement cash at any match.
I'm not
Oh
racist,
yeah, I can imagine. Like, the only thing that would make him a bigger target would be guard.
Heard of him. I don't think they teach Kierkegaard in the state schools. Be right back. I just have to do a number 2.
Because a guard peasant has approximately 1 or 2 games in his lifespan left, if he gets it. Because everything and everyone will be crunching down on him.
Not counting what's probably going to happen later. How many other guys from Tinder have you slept with?
That being said, if you don't rely
Take this call. It's my ex.
on that particular leader, it's a good way to
My
bait
favorite type of music?
the
Probably
team into attacking him and focus your efforts somewhere else. But that I think that's a bit too meta and too reverse psychology type thing. Yeah, but the blockers are harder to take down, like with the rest. But yeah, you're right. People do usually go for the guard, no matter what it is. Yeah, true. Or suffer the guard. True. There is an ongoing meme in the Rebel League where if a zombie gets guard, he does not survive his next match. And I think that so far it has held through. So not a single guard zombie has survived a match. Which just goes to show. Am I wrong, Robert Rimbo? I think that... Yeah, note taken. So, I don't know, disintegrated, or rendered to a position where he can no longer play. Like disemboweled or something. Yeah, the rebel memes. Have you been watching the playoffs? Because I am completely not in the current right now. What's happening there? Because I always use Reddit for any updates and information on Rebel in general and the playoffs in particular, and they just don't say anything there. Yeah, so Rebel, after you're done with the season, with the regular season, depending on the division that you were in, you can get a ticket for the playoffs. No. It's just each season, when everyone plays their games in the regular divisional format. No, but there is a mug, a coffee mug, that is branded with the Rebel logo. Yeah, well, better than a kick in the teeth anyway. By the way, CCL also no longer has a financial reward, I think. They took it out. Whereas it used to be 500 euros or something along those lines per season. Yeah, I have a fondness for the wooden spoons, as you all know. In Rebel or just Blood Bowl in general? Because if you're gonna play tomorrow, I can join in, and if either of you... yeah. Again, if you're joining up, if you're gonna play tomorrow, I'll join up at some time. And if you're feeling fresh after the first game, either one of you, I could jump in for a game as well. Nine o'clock. All right. Well, good. In that case, I can, well, see what we can do. Maybe push the stream to start later or something. I don't know, I'll think of something. But I'll be along for the ride, either way. And And how about earlier? If you'd like to, I can join early. We can have a game before the one you arranged. Yeah, exactly. Great. Good. Okay, well, if you'd like to, we can do it like this. I can log in at 7:15, so we can start the game by 7:30 and have about an hour and a half to play the game. And then you can take a breath and jump into the second one. Is that alright? Okay then, good. So we have a schedule for tomorrow. How about that? Oh yeah, no, for sure. For sure, for sure. Anything else on the gaming front? Can't really think of anything right now off the top of my head. Yes, with the slight change, so swapping the mighty blow for a tackle for the day one. No. The same team that I played previously with you, just with tackle instead of mighty blow. I'm not sure about a star player. The only one I can think of that is somewhat good for the Norse is the werewolf. What was its name? What was its name? I forgot. The wrestle werewolf. Cheney, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Cheney. They're not too great. I think that they have one of the dwarven ones, so the bombardier one. But I don't think that either of them. Yeah, I don't think that they benefit much from star players. Yeah, the chainsaw and Carla. They are, yeah, they are. but I don't think that for this format they will be worth their salt. They will be definitely sacrificing a berserker and maybe a lineman to get either. Get probably Carla. Helmut, yeah, but again, he will cost me more, and he will be a one drive thing, because I won't be able to gather as much cash for a bribe, and the bribe being for keeping him for a second drive. So he actually gets, but in league, yeah, in league I would totally, if I have the inducements, I would get him. For the World Cup, not so much. At the very least, this time around I'm going for a reliability build, which is why I'm not taking along the Yeti. So anything that will make it harder for me to reroll or that will make me roll more dice. I just want to be as reliable as possible. Not really sure either. I'll keep an eye out on Andy Davos stream, because he's going to the World Cup and he might start talking about metas. And I think that he as well will have some test games for the World Cup. And it'd be interesting to see his point of view. And he will be probably the biggest source of information about any meta until they release the team builds. Well, not the builds, but at least the teams themselves, which will be in the end of August. Okay, will do. Because at one of his streams he mentioned that he'll be playing some test games. Now check it out if he posts them on the YouTube. He's probably playing Dark Elves again, which isn't bad. Getting a bit old at this point. Really? Wait, what? Good one, Raw Rimbo. Sadly though, the bot will probably not react or respond to this. Yeah, believe me, if there was a way to turn that off, I would. Where did you notice this? With the humans with star players in the Fumbo World Cup tries, or Alright. Hey, Tarif. Thanks for joining. How are you? I hadn't noticed that, so yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, someone did mention that humans would be strong under these rules, though I couldn't for the life of me understand why that would be. And I certainly wouldn't have guessed. Yeah? Why do you think that humans will have an advantage with this rule set for the World Cup? Trust is a given. I trust the sources and I trust you. The question is, why? Like, just what is the reasoning behind this decision, this statement? Oh, they combine Zug with the Ogre. Alright. Yeah, that sounds good. That does sound good. Granted, granted. I thought that Zug would substitute the Ogre. True, true. Now, when I think about it, yeah, Zug and the Ogre are a good combination, because the Ogre will be the Strength 5 guard. This guard would be natural for, would be normal as a skill for him. And the 4 Blitzers getting guard, so that's 5 guard on the team with normal skills. So yeah, it does sound to be worth it. Is that how you're gonna be playing them? Let me take a look. Oh, he's playing undead, yeah. Yeah. I don't know why I can constantly forget that. Oh, let me take. Oh, did you play around with the sprays? Oh, they look grand. Yeah. Oh yeah. And pretty big too. I thought they'd be smaller. Nice. Really, really nice. This monument is amazing. Yeah, it looks awesome. I did put in like half an hour or so into fixing up the Goliaths. So they should be almost ready for priming. Yeah, they're almost done. Like, I need to drill the barrows and apply some more white tack here and there, but I did redo all of the pinning. It did help a little bit, not too much. I might just actually end up gluing everything and dealing with it as it comes. I'll probably just take the builds from the boxed game. If they keep being super wonky and stuff.
My brother tried to sell me to Khal Drogo. Look what happened. A bit hot-headed with that molten golden crown. I stopped the Khalasar, so don't.
And all of a sudden, a wild Game of Thrones rap appears. For whatever reason. There was no preparing them when Krasus tried to mess with the wrong Targaryen. I smarted him like Tyrion when I knew how Valyrian. These creatures on my shoulders, well, I think you should be fearing them. Watching the throne. I got dragon blood, what you wanna do, son? I got dragon blood, what you wanna do? I got dragon blood, what you wanna do, son? It's apparently MC Lars.
Unsullied behind me, like I'm Luminati. It's the mother of dragons with my gigantic army. We be marching to Marine, but no, we didn't come to party. Cause they crucified the slaves and put them on the cross. Sir Jorah, please get lost. I know you think I'm hot. My schedule's kinda busy, got no time for Perrier. White girl politicking, that's Daenerys Palin. From Dorne to the Stormlands, the north and beyond. To the Westlands and Essos, I'm keeping it strong. From the Crownlands to the Reach, you know I'm getting love. To the Riverlands and back because I've got that dragon blood. So follow more clueless, I thought that you knew this.
By the way, Ethan, if you weren't around earlier, just to let you know that tomorrow we'll have a couple of games, test games for the World Cup, kicking off at 7:30 local time. If you want to join up and either watch or play, if you want to get some practice in, or comment and give us pointers and stuff. Blood Bowl 2, but I'll be streaming, so you can just join up on the stream if you'd like to. Yeah, I'll, cool, that'd be great. Because we should start getting in some practice games. Have you had any chance to practice with the undead? Oh, all right. I know that there is a sort of a league on Fumble for the World Cup dedicated to tests, but I don't think that this will be particularly necessary unless we just Slan. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Nah, it's big in space. No. That's sad. Well, for what it's worth, it does look like a hell of a grind, so I don't think it'd be a particularly enthralling game. Right, and it should be as most new games have to be always online, even for single player, for whatever stupid reason. Yeah, well, I've tried to limit myself as well recently, and so far I haven't felt any backlash from anywhere, as I have accrued a significantly vast library, and hopefully with the stream I'll be able to go through some of them. And when I melt down at least a bit of the ones that I haven't even installed, I might think about getting something. Yeah. Hope thou paid them no mind. Right, so I'll give this a moment to dry. I'll apply one more layer and I'll do a couple of quick cleanups. I suppose, yeah. Oh, come on, don't take complaining from us. It's on it. It's what keeps us going. What are we if we don't complain? Or random topics. Like for instance, I haven't complained about GW Metallics today. And they suck. End of rant. Yeah, we're just letting off some steam here. No worries. Indeed. Hence why I am not a pro. Also, I did give it a go, remember? It was when I was trying to go to paint these two guys simultaneously. But unless you want to see 5 more streams of me painting base layers, well, it's better to go to one. Also, I just wanted a reason to smoke. I'm not gonna lie here. So I could have just went through the other claw while it was drying. I mean, there are a million things you can do while watching paint dry. Just tried to give myself an excuse. Which failed. True, true. Also to mental insanity. I suppose that if you do that, there will not be much left of your brain afterwards. You did say... Well, why not? Stacking words on top of words is fun, isn't it? I always think of yeah, it's about what would happen if you painted 100 models at a time. And whenever the topic comes up, I always think of Miniac. I know Itan has been watching him, but I don't know if you guys have been following him. So he took on a commission for Blood Angels Army, and he painted that commission in 7 years. It took him 7 years to paint a Blood Angel army, and said that he would never ever ever even attempt to do so ever again. And that's one of the surest ways to get utter burnout. Unless you're like dunking them in paint. It's a YouTuber called Miniac. The channel is called Miniac. It's about a guy named Scott, and he does some pretty good tutorials on basing and painting. And he was telling us this story. And while it wasn't 100 models, I think it was over 50 for sure. Like somewhere in the high 60s, 70s model count, including vehicles and flyers and whatnot. I don't think someone actually paid him. It was a friend of his that just gave him the models to paint. Or for whatever reason it wasn't. So it was a friend of his that gave him the job. But he had moved on to other games or something like that. I can't exactly recall what the case was. No, right? He did finish them at the end.
Facing all these things that we've broken scares you inside out for a moment. But deep breath in, chin up, we got this far. It's time to finish what we all started. The bruised, bleeding limbs broke.
Still painting really sloppy here though.
But all together now we got this far.
Probably, yeah. It was it was pre-Primaris for sure. No, naturally. I mean, Primaris came out like what, 2 years ago. Right, well, let's see if I can bring this paint back to life. Probably won't. If I could, it'll save me some good time. Yeah, nah, not gonna happen. Gonna try and do a couple of quick touch-ups. As I mentioned, I managed to slop it up. And yes, I am using the same brush I used for the metallics that I'm using right now for the touch-ups, but it's just a couple drops of paint here and there. So as long as you don't tell anyone, I won't. I thought I did this. Why? I know, right? Doesn't go on the internet, it can stay a secret forever. Did I really not do any touch-ups on the gold? Weird. Oh, by the way, Eatson, if you're on the line still, how do you go about when you want to paint a brighter gold? Yeah, nut jobs. Playing with plastic figures and stuff. Who would do that? Because my original idea for these guys included bright gold, not this desaturated one. But when I tried to apply it, highlighting it was a nightmare, and so I scaled it down to this, to the dullest, the darkest gold I could find, so Gehenna's gold. And then it's a bit of a layer of glazing and blending. Right, yeah, that's the heavy metal formula, but I kind of want to keep it in the gold spectrum, because here, as you can see, if you take this this piece, for example, where you have alternating silvers and gold, if I highlight this part with silver, it's gonna go very... I don't know, it'll mute the gold too much. There won't be enough contrast. Well, for me as well, I'm struggling with it. This is why I raised the topic. I tried to apply the same technique I'm gonna be using for the skin, which is apply the highlights with the brighter gold, and then try to blend the cutoff with a wash. However, that kills the shine of the metal and it just looks weird, at least before varnishing. Because after varnishing, if I'm using a matte varnish, it doesn't really matter what you think. And as a wash, I use the Reichland's Flesh Shade for blending in the golds. But it looks kind of weird, like it has to be really watered down. It's kind of meh. Sepia, yeah, I haven't thought about using sepia for golds. I just heard it somewhere for the Reichland and I've been using it ever since. And it worked well because I mostly always painted either Gehenna's gold or copper. And it kind of worked, but whenever you use an actual bright gold, like, oh, what was it? Like this stuff? Auric armor or... This is grand. It doesn't work well, but I think sepia would. Because the brighter golds don't have as much red in them as, let's say, copper or the darker golds. So yeah, I might try sepia this time around. Yeah, thanks for the tip. Whenever I get to highlight the metals, which is usually the last thing I ever do on a mini. So hopefully I won't forget by then. Well, you may or may not know this, but in GTA 2, the save game was actually in one of these. So you couldn't save your game from the menu. You had to go to a specific location in the town, which was one of those weirdly over-embellished churches. And it had a Jesus Saves sign on it. And this was where you actually did your save games. And this is something that they didn't bring back in the later GTAs, and I was rather disappointed. But the first time you saw that was like, oh yeah, I see what you did there. It's a nice pun. And whenever the topic of memory and writing down comes up, I always remember my professor in philosophy, who was running the theory that you actually shouldn't write things down that you need to remember, because that way you're not actually training your memory. And in addition, his knockout argument on that was that if you were to write things down and then lose what it was that you wrote them on, then you would be lost, just about as lost as if you forgot the thing that you wrote down at the first place. I mean, it was a weird experiment. To enforce this, for the first semester, he didn't let us take notes during his lectures, to try and force us to train our memory and actual understanding. Yeah, well, to be completely honest, judging by how he looked, I think he was around when most of those words were made up. What, tattoo your body? Yeah, granted. He was a weirdo. But he did have some interesting topics he raised. I think I've mentioned him before, though. He was a really old professor. Like most of the other professors, he was their teacher. So you can imagine. But he had really interesting points to get across. Sometimes in terms of trivia, sometimes in terms of overall concepts. Yeah, good stuff. I think that's the metallics done. Don't think I'll be touching things up anymore. And as in metallics, I mean just the base coat. Finally, after how many was it? Like 4 or 5 streams, I finally got to, yeah, shiny. Well, it was in the name of the stream, so can't complain. You knew what you were getting into. So finally, we're getting to the highlight stage. Whoop-de-doo. And the highlight stage is going to include a rather heavy dry brush on the fur. Now, I know what you're gonna say. Why on earth would you do the dry brush after painting all of the other base coats? The answer to that is that this is how I've been doing it so far, and I'll do it again. But if we're talking perfect sequencing for the colors, because the dry brush is not particularly focused, like it's a tough technique to focus on smaller areas. You get a lot of overbrush here and there. So what you would need to do, quite the contrary, everyone told me it's wrong. It's like painting with switching from metallics to non-metallics without changing the water or the brush, which I also did. And so far I haven't noticed anything wrong. And as you can see, I'm not being very precise with my paint job at all in general, so at this point I don't think that's a point. But just as trivia, just to say how it should be. So I should have just painted the fur first, then laid down the heavy dry brushes so that I can get all the overbrush I want over the primer without this damaging. No heresy here. Just some plastic juice, man. Yeah, breaking all the rules today. And I forgot to get smokeless cigarettes. So it's heresy all around, I guess. Speaking of, did you see the new Plastic Sisters models? I saw some posts. I'm not sure if they were only 3D renders or they were the actual models. There were several models for Sisters Repentia. Yeah, exactly, the Repentia were awesome, and they managed yeah, I get it. Not to worry, we don't judge. I did like the models though. And what left on, as they should. I mean, they are essentially female berserkers, as far as I know, and that's my exact point. Usually, they are depicted as essentially naked, with just a puss flap and the big sword. And GW naturally tried to censor all of that, but they did it in a rather tasteful way. Yeah, exactly. They did it very tastefully. I kind of liked what they did. They kept the actual female form, because if you remember the first Plastic Sister they made, that was one of the character models, she looked horrible. Like, I didn't like her at all. They concealed every single aspect of a feminine figure that she could have had with really weird plates of armor, and I was really worried what they would do with these ones. But they did well. I don't know about you. What do you think about it? It was essentially just a standard, what you imagine instinctively when Sisters of Battle come up. Oh, it was one of the character models. I'm really not good with names lately. My mind's just been wandering in all sorts of directions. She had her leg on a rock. Yeah, in power armor. She had her leg on a rock, and she held a bolter not by the handle but by the clip, like these old sergeants, if you remember. Yeah, exactly. I am actually, yeah. I don't like them just about, the only reason I don't like them and that I avoid them is because I am a bit daunted at, yeah, I'll take a look and if I can find it, I'll link it to you. So the only thing that I have against female models is that I'm a bit daunted about painting them, because in order to make them look right, the flesh tones, the blends on the flesh tones need to be done really smooth. Yes, that's her. And since my skin tones are not particularly of a high level, I'm just afraid I would ruin the miniature with the paint job. I've been going a bit willy-nilly with the Norse ones. Well, she's not horrible, but I kind of expected more out of the remade sisters. Excuse me for just a moment, I'll get a refill on the water. Yeah, maybe it's that I didn't like. And there's something about the heels in platforms. Although I like them in concept, the execution is weird. But yeah, just my opinion. Aside from that, I don't have any issue with female models. Quite the contrary. And I'm actively... yeah, probably. Oh, that's actually counterintuitive. You would think that GW would be that it would actually be the other way around. Yeah, exactly. Also, the heels are weird here as well. Interesting. But you can see how the entire art style sort of changed. Their models are not as stylized as they were. Yeah, let's do a comparison, that's a good idea. So this is the model. Well, now that I see them side by side, you do have a point. But you can kind of see, as you mentioned yourself, the thicker legs and the thicker arms in general, they have tanked her up a bit. And yeah, the legs and the waist But since so they released this model what a couple of years ago, I think, either last year or a couple of years ago, and since this was the only thing that we could go on to project what the rest of the sisters would look like, and specifically considering the sisters Repentia, I was sort of worried how they would come out, and was pretty happy with the end result that I saw in the latest screenshots. Some people complained about those models that they had sockets suggesting carapace armor for mounting the power armor, but I honestly couldn't see an issue with that. There is also another third-party caster that was called War Games Extreme or Extreme Wargaming, something along those lines, and they make over-sexualized models for pretty much every race, and naturally their pride and joy were the Sisters of Battle. And if you want to see what the Sisters of Battle could have been, you can go over to that site and check them out. They also have Sexy Tau Marksman and all sorts of weird stuff. They're good models, just a bit weird. Yeah, it may be that. It may be, what is it, Wargamers Extreme or Extreme Wargames? I don't remember. And they had these cool, yeah, futuristic, and they had the vehicles that resembled a Batmobile, if you remember. They had some cars that, armor transport, APCs, that resembled that. So, dry brushing time. I gotta remember to shake the paint pots away from the microphone because I see that it picks up the shaking. I'm having some horrible issues with this pot in particular. I've cleaned all of the paint gunk from it, well, not all of it, apparently. But it still refuses to close after using, and I fear that it'll dry out real quick. Oh, also how was it called? The toughest girls in the galaxy range of miniatures also had a a good sisters equivalent. Maybe that's what you're referring to, Itsan. Or Pig in Space. Yeah, Pig in Space. I'm just gonna go real heavy with the dry brush. Trying not to get too much over brush here. It's more or less inevitable in this small detailed environment. Yeah, I think Toughest Girls was the first good equivalent of Sisters of Battle. And then it was the Wargamers Extreme Wargamers, in whatever way it was. Heresy Online, okay, so probably not what I was thinking about. What I'm doing here is, in concept, I will use a very heavy dry brush over all of the fur area. And I will go to rather extreme highlights, and then I will use a wash to bring them down, and in this way it will subdue the chalky effect that the dry brush usually leaves. And so after the dry brushing is done, and after the wash, I will apply a light dry brush over the whole thing, just to bring out the most raised areas. Not at all, not at all. Nothing to see here. Move along, move along. Greetings, Imperial citizen. I always found that meme hilarious for some reason. Yeah, Wargames exclusive, that's the thing I was thinking about. So it's not extreme, it's exclusive, yeah. They have nice things, and again, they have some pin-up versions of some of the models. Like, I seem to remember that they had a specific fondness for Tau. They had some snipers. And very good vehicles, like the vehicles are gorgeous. They are good quality stuff. I was considering to get something from them, can't remember what. but it's not really hard to like something from their range. There were some Batmobile-like transports. But you had to fiddle around with the filters. Either way, it's a really good site, good range of miniatures. If anyone's looking for something in the... I think they're mostly sci-fi, I don't remember if they have anything fantasy. But for fantasy they had gorgeous stuff. Gorgeous. Okay, oof. Completely overdid this part here. But it's okay, the wash will bring it down anyway. What caught your eye? Yeah. Absolutely. Both the model and the painting of it. Amazing. Absolutely. Yeah, beautiful model, beautiful sculpt. And this non-metallic metal here on the chainsword is also very nice. Very stark contrast, and yet it doesn't give out the feeling of shiny. More along the lines of just used. Otherwise, it's a pretty matte type of metal. I really like how it's how this is painted. Yeah, that's which one's that? Yeah, this would go. It would look good as part of a diorama. You're right. Like you would build around the model scenery that would match the base, like going through a cityscape battlefield, and you can play around with, considering how happy the kid is, it can be that she's taking him through piles of dead corpses in a city or something like that, to emphasize some sort of irony or something. Yeah, it's a very good piece here. Indeed, indeed. Oh, is it? So, you mean it's a reproduction of an art piece? Like the Canoness? Oh, nice. I will go on record and say that I do not like dry brushing as a technique. But in this case, painting every strand of fur would be suicide for me. Just mental suicide. I've seen people do it. I can't. The way I still struggle with oh yeah, definitely. No, but the entire site have very good range of miniatures. Like, they are most well known for their pin-uppy stuff, but they have good stuff there too, like just objectively good. But yeah, dry brushing, I don't like it in general. And I only use it for cases such as this or for weathering. Well, I haven't used it yet for weathering because I haven't done any weathering, but I do see a use for it in that context. Now, just for simplicity and speed, I'll just slap it on.
I got 1,000 hungry zombies for company, and there's so much here to enjoy. Got my weighted hammer and a bludgeon and skulls. They go splat like a big juicy peach. Dead bodies everywhere, such a treat for the gulls on the red brown sand of the beach.
Also, another thing to be wary about when dry brushing is that the compound that you leave on the model is not entirely dry, so it's not entirely just dry pigment. It is kind of thick and gooey. And probably the worst possible thing that can happen is that you can put your thumb on an area that you have dry brushed, a larger area that you have dry brushed, and because it's thick and gooey, it will actually take an imprint of your fingerprint and will make relief. It will add roughness to the detail, and that's a bitch to get rid of. So whenever you're dry brushing, just keep in mind not to touch the area for a while. even though it's called dry brushing. That's another way of looking at it, like most artists would sign their name on a painting, and miniature painters, we can just leave our thumbprints. Okay, I horribly overdid the beard here. Like, horrendously. But I've been sloppy all throughout this process. Why change now? Am I right? Am I right? There's something wrong with the player. Seems to be sort of fidgeting a little bit.
Thinking back, going to her place. I'm going to the thing. Oh, I really need. She said, boy, can't give it to me now. I said, I think I can. Oh, I finally can, yeah.
Oh, sorry, that was probably horrible to hear. I think we are done with this portion. Oh, come on, still. Like the second I think I'm done with the touch-ups. That's interesting. Or maybe a Lizardman proxy? Possibly. Yeah, if the models are not okay. Otherwise, do you have a secret league team in mind? Oh wow, they're big guys. They're big. Like, how big did you tell me that the cat people's big guy was? It was similar to that, I think. So 50 or 60 mil, which is significant. Oh, there is a straight up snake. I would need to get into Warhammer Fantasy lore, just to get an idea of the races that are there. Because I'm always like, I wonder if this is here, or do they have cats? They have whatever it was. Oh, so they got the squat treatment, yeah. Yeah, that sounds close to what you showed me last time. Right. Tigerman. Nice. And now that the secret leagues are available in OBBLN, we might be able to get some open league matches with some of them to test them out. I did look through them a while back just to see what they had in store. I seem to remember there was a Tzinch team and a Slanesh team. Or am I being wrong here? As well as the actual Kislev instead of the Slan with Kislev skin. Oh, so that's for the Lizardman, yeah. They look good, I have to say. Bit simple on the detail, but again, that just leaves you more room to play around with scales and tones, just as the artist for the box art has done here. You can see some very interesting transitions between the yellows and the greens. Just need to figure out how to remove the hammer and this should be good to go. Oh, these are French. Taille, effrayant, projection, focus. Nice. Are these confrontation minis? Oh no, there is an English version, okay. I thought they were Rackham alternatives for confrontation. Those speedy vampires then, like Eldril. Does Eldril have night step? I don't think he does. Well, naturally. At least for the big guy. Would make sense. Oh, I'll get it. Huh. Bit overkill, yeah. They're not particularly balanced, these teams, and I think this is why they remain as secret leagues. So off we go to the next layer of dry brush highlight. So I won't go through all of them, all of the pieces, just the ones that sort of stand out a bit. So here on the leg. Here on the calf. The thigh we're going to get the same treatment here.
Can I get an amen? An amen now, brothers and sisters. Amen. Can I get an amen? An amen now, scatter that seed. Amen.
Has anyone actually experimented with dry pigments out of, well, mostly directed to Ethan here? Either bottled or shavings from pastels. although it wouldn't work well in this scenario, but as I'm seeing a buildup on the cloth here, I don't know if you can see that there is a bit of a buildup from the dry brushing on the gray cloth. That just got me to thinking about dry pigments. But I won't highlight the underside of the tail. I'm gonna try and catch just the upper part of the chest hair. The way I see it, I'm gonna have to use some really diluted wash for this, because the underside is already pretty dark, and if I were to apply an undiluted, straight out of the pot wash, the dark parts will get considerably darker, whereas the highlights will not. And while I am looking for contrast, it'll make it way too stark. It'll be nonsensical. I want to kind of avoid that if possible. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Because when you dry brush, I don't think it's quite visible, but there is a chalky effect that is left over that gives texture, and it looks weird, and it's very you can tell right away that what has been dry brushed and what has been manually highlighted. So when I use the wash, it will blend that chalkiness, it'll dilute it a bit, so it'll cover up the effect of the dry brush a little bit, and then I can go with just very, very light dry brushing over the most raised areas. So for instance, the center of the thigh here, the tops of the chest hairs here, on the back near the shoulders, the top of the head, and so on. So it will give the last splash of highlight without giving that much of a chalky, gritty feeling, which I want to avoid. So we'll see how it turns out. Oh no! Because the last Ulf, I had a bit of trouble with him at this exact stage, as I washed him with unthinned, so I shaded him with unthinned wash, if that makes sense. And the result was that I built up too stark contrast between the shadows and the highlights, and it was a bit muddy. So here the hair pieces here and on the back looked muddy, and I'm not really okay with them. Oh, that'd be great, yeah, that'd be nice. Also, I should be free this weekend, so if you need any help with building things or painting them, or if you just want to jump into a test game, just let me know. I should be relatively free. Unless, of course, something comes up, but generally fine. Right, so again, just catching the upper part of the hairs. Okay, lovely. So far, you can't see much of a separation between the second step highlight and the first step highlight. But when I wash the whole thing and reapply the highlight at the top, it will... Sure, no rush. I mean, I'm just... it just came to my mind, nothing... high importance here. So yeah, the contrast will pop once I wash and reapply the highlight on the upper part. And then I will manually, with normal brush techniques, I will give some splashes of extreme highlights here and there, like at the tip of the beard, here at the tips of the what do you call it, of the back hair. Overall, it's going to look a bit more diverse. It's not going to be as boring as and one-dimensional as it looks right now. Kind of a fun process. I like playing around in this part. Once I get through the base colors, the actual fun part of the painting begins when you start to experiment, bring up certain colors, bring down others, trying to achieve a blend without actually wet blending, because I suck at it. Right, so now that sounds both enticing and risky, so I'll open it up first. Alright, well, that's a thing, definitely. Yeah, that is definitely colored hair. I can't argue with that. Well, if you're gonna grow it, might as well play around with it, I suppose. Yeah, that's a bit much for me, though. Usually try to be as non-judgmental as humanly possible, but this is just a bit much. Also, the tagline on the shirt is, yeah, it's a bit much. Just a bit much. I remember what I was going to do. Just a minute. You're probably not seeing this, but there is a lot of dust from the pigments that collected over the gray cloak, the gray sash. I'm just brushing it off with, well, a dry brush. It has no paint on it. Not exactly breaking into new scientific territory here, but if I don't do it now, it'll probably stick when I apply the washes. I kinda wanna avoid that. Right. That's an idea. I mean, it seems funny, but it actually works really well. Like, after a long building sessions, when you have a ton of shavings, plastic shavings on your workstation, it actually works. I was very surprised. I thought it was just gonna make some noise and annoy me. But it does good work. Oh, you do? Yeah. No, I am not alone in this. The mere concept of a USB vacuum cleaner is ridiculous, isn't it? So overall, I think I won't be painting any more of him today. Just hang around for a bit, and then we'll call it a day. Because next time, and the next stage in general, is that I will be applying washes, but not just on the fur, but everywhere where I want to directly have shade and tint. So I will tint the leather straps with a different shade. I will completely wash the sash, and the metallics. I think especially the gray metallics, I will give them a full wash. The golds I will leave as they are. I won't be washing them for now. And I will not wash the flesh. Oh, I can wash the claws on the hands and feet. So that's gonna be a whole thing. Just applying washes all around wherever. And I will actually start showing off some tips and tricks as far as I can. Something I could do is wash my dry brush. And I think I just said wash about 55 times in the last 5 minutes, so I will refrain from using that word for a while. Yeah, it dried up completely. Not the best of ideas. By the way, if anyone gets to find brushes like these, so the green Da Vinci's, in any arts and crafts store, please let me know where you have found them. I want to get a couple. I found out they're very good workhorse brushes for hard duties, such as applying glue, applying varnish, I actually varnish my miniatures with this. Yeah, that's an option. It's pretty near me, so I can try. So this here, the number 6 flat. This one I've been using. Yeah, probably. I should check them out. Because I had another one around here, and which is where I found these, but they stopped restocking them and replaced them with the Milan synthetics, which are also very good, but in a different way. So these are good for actual painting, whereas these are awesome for applying PVA glue, varnish, rough stuff application. They stand out, and they are also very stiff. So if you get the round brushes, you will get a solid brush tip for a while until it hooks naturally. But they're good. And the handles are very comfortable too. Yeah, I should walk around, see the arts and crafts around Shipka. Anything else of note that might be useful? Oh, that's actually Milan. 501. How about that? One tool I'm looking forward to trying out is the saw blade, but this will come in handy when I start building the orcs. I really want to try it, and I've had it for a while now. As I said, the whole orc team project has been in my mind for a long time, and I've been gathering all sorts of supplies and tools for the case. I can't wait to cut apart some orcs. Though first I will need to make some actual progress with the Norse. Because at this point, this guy will take up a decent chunk of time, and his other half-done colleague is also gonna take a chunk of time, and then there are 2 more after those. So I will probably have to do some off-stream work. Either that or some really long streams where I don't ramble as much. Just try to rummage through it. But there's still time, and I have some vacation days coming up next month, and I will be taking advantage of that. I'm not really worried yet. Well, anyway, guys, I think that this will be pretty much it from me for tonight. If anyone has anything else that they want to share for now. If not, we'll be starting up again tomorrow around the same time and play some Blood Bowl. Thank you too for joining and for contributing and for chatting along. As usual, I really do appreciate it. Cheers everyone, and have a lovely rest of your evening, and I hope I will see you again tomorrow. So again, love what you do what you love, and for now, bye bye.